Hey guys, Khalif here, and today we are going to be covering custom durability items. That is, doing a custom set range of durability for any given item. So as you can see with this netherite sword, when I hit the iron golem, it drops by a pretty considerable amount per hit, and it will actually just break after a couple of hits, not too many. So most netherite swords don't last that long. So how did I make it last so short? It's pretty simple. Basically, it uses item modifiers and some scoreboard math. So we'll get into how that works exactly. So in the description, there will be a download to a data pack called custom durability with a pretty arbitrary namespace of CD. And that's because I don't expect you to use this data pack on its own. I expect you to implement this into your own data pack. So it uses an item modifier and it uses some functions. So let's take a look at the functions. First off, give. What is the item we're giving the player? We're giving them a sword, and they have two custom MBT tags, C damage, 0, and C damage max, 10. These are both necessary. I wanted to implement the damage in a way that the game also uses so that it mirrors kind of the behavior. So if I give myself a diamond axe with damage of 0, then the thing is full health. But if I do damage of 1000, the thing is like half health. Okay, so I wanted to implement it similar. So you have damage, which is how much damage it's taken, and you have damage max, which is how much it would be able to withstand. So the maximum on this is only 10. You can change that to whatever number you want. So next we have the init. So this is the setup. So we create a scoreboard that detects when you use a sword. So you're going to need a scoreboard or some way, some trigger to test when they use this thing. Maybe you're using a carrot on a stick, because you can apply this to any tool that has durability already as a thing. Maybe you're using a carrot on a stick with right click a carrot on a stick. Cool, well then just make that scoreboard and check for that. The other thing that's important is this scoreboard here, but we'll get into exactly what the need for that scoreboard is later. So in the main, you just check for somebody using your thing. Of course, whatever trigger you have to reduce durability, you can kind of customize that yourself. But in this case, I have it triggering when I use the sword. And when I use the sword, it sets the score to 0, and it checks if I have this custom C damage MBT. So if I have the C damage MBT, then it's going to edit the durability. Okay, and how does it edit the durability? Very simply, only 7 commands. So let's go over each command very slowly here. So we're going to copy the selected item's C damage tag onto the .damage use sword score. So if the C damage is 0, then that just gets put onto the score damage. And it's a fake player. And this works for multiplayer, by the way. It's because of the way that I have the function organization. So then we copy the max to .max. So now we know how much damage it has taken and what it can take. So next we have to save we have to give it a new damage. So we just add 1 to the damage score, and we save that onto a data storage element. And that's important later because we need to update the damage MBT, which is stored on the item right here. We need to update that MBT. So to update that MBT, you need a copy from a data storage, and we'll get there. So again, I save it onto a data storage for later copy. Then we need to calculate how much damage the weapon should have based on how much damage it normally has, okay? So first we have to subtract, because the way that the item modifier works, a lot of these commands are based on the way the item modifier works. So you have item modifier, and item modifiers allow you to copy MBT. So this will copy the new damage value for me onto the old damage value and replace it. The other thing it lets you do is it lets you set damage based on a score, and the score is .damage, and the score to use is use_score. That's from the scoreboard. And then you see this weird scale number. So the way that the set damage item modifier works is it also has this add thing, but we'll get into that later. That's not super important. So the way that the item modifier works is basically the number that you have to get to put under the set damage thing needs to be a fraction of the total damage the thing could have. So the equation is the real damage that we need to set on the weapon divided by the max that that weapon can incur is equal to the fake divided by the fake's max. So just rearranging that to figure out what the real is, we just need to do that. And then finally divide it by itself. Divided by the real max that it's supposed to be, because this thing wants a fractional form. So doing this formula up here will get me the real damage, and I'm sorry that my drawing skills with a mouse are bad. This will give me the real damage number, the 1828 that you see in the sidebar, the 1827, okay, right? It'll get you that number, the 1827. And then you need to divide that by 2031, which this is 1 divided by 2031. That's what this number is, okay? So the way the math works out is you have 0, let's say damage is 1, okay? So 1 minus 10 is 9, negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 2031 is some big number. And that thing divided by 10 is going to be 9 over 10 times 2031, which would be the 1828, okay? 1827. Then the 1827 divided by 2031 gives you your fractional value that goes onto the sword right there. Now, I do know that I could have used add mode true, but it makes it less flexible if you want to remove a different amount of durability. So you can actually change this to say scoreboard remove 3 if you want. So let's say they do something and instead you want to remove a lot more for that hit. So I wanted a little bit more flexibility there rather than just doing some like additive thing by 1. That's a little bit confusing and annoying to work with. This is very much straightforward with the math. So if you wanted to apply this to something that isn't netherite, you're going to have to change this 2031 thing and make a whole new function for it that applies the value. Or what you can do is create a parent function, something up here, that figures out what the durability should be and applies it to a temporary scoreboard, and then use the temporary scoreboard in here. But you will have to make a separate update durability item modifier that has a different scale value depending on what type of item it is, or you would have to run conditions to pick one of the set damage commands. So your condition says, is the item one of these items? Okay, if it is, use this one. Okay, is it one of these items? If it is, use this one. Or just change the number and make a new file. But what I would do is for all of your custom durability weapons that are of the same type, I would just use the same parent sword and use a custom stats to change how much damage it does, like attribute modifiers, things like that. Anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.